Hello, everyone. This year, Yom Kippur, just a few days away, is going to undoubtedly be a very different Yom Kippur for many, many Jews in our community and in many other communities around the world. I could say that probably for many of you, or for most of you, this will be the first time that you will be alone, for those that cannot and will not come to shul. And it brings to us a sense of sadness, a sense of loneliness, a sense of what does all this mean? What kind of Yom Kippur is it? What kind of way to celebrate or commemorate the holiest day of the year alone in my dining room? And for me, myself as well, I can tell you in my 53 years, never once will Yom Kippur never once did I have Yom Kippur where every fourth seat is filled with social distancing, and there's maybe 100 Jews in shul rather than the hundreds and hundreds that come every year. But this is where we are. And I want to share with you a story and a lesson that perhaps can uplift you on this in this situation. So let me tell you a story. I heard this from a colleague of mine who is from Kfar Chabad, Israel. And he says that in the great synagogue in Kfar Chabad, there was a chazan, a cantor, who would lead the services on Yom Kippur every year. His name was Rabbi Zalman Bronstein. And when he would go up to the lectern on Kil Nidre night, and there would be 500-600 people in the synagogue or more, and he would begin to sing. His voice was strong, but his emotion was even stronger. And he was able to capture the people. And there was such emotion in that room, in that chazan. And he somehow swept everyone into the emotion. They asked him after davening, how do you do it? What's the feeling? What's the where's your state of mind, state of existence, when you pray with such heart, with such voice, with such power? And he said, I want you to know something. When I daven in Yom Kippur, I am transported to another place and another time. And he begins to tell them the story. When the Second World War broke out, he was drafted to the army. He was a young man with a wife and 2 small children. He was very worried. He lived in Russia. He was drafted to the Red Army. He had to fight the Nazis, and it was dangerous. You go to the front lines, chance of you coming back are not that high. And he was very disturbed and very upset and very nervous. And one day he's there in the barracks or wherever, and he begins to sing. He was a good singer, and he sang a little Hasidic tune or Jewish tune in an undertone. And his officers, the general, heard him. He said, you don't belong here. You belong in the Red Army's choir. You belong in the choir. And I'm going to bring you into the choir. You have a great voice. You should be there. He was very happy. That meant his life was saved. He wouldn't be in the front lines. And he became part of the choir, and he was informed that then he had a solo, and he was a very popular singer in the choir. And one day he gets noticed that there's going to be this most important performance that the choir is going to do, and he looks at the calendar. To his shock, it is on Yom Kippur. He is devastated, and he doesn't say a word to anyone. Yom Kippur morning comes, and he goes over to his either the conductor or the person in charge, and he makes a voice that he's completely hoarse. He can't speak, can't sing. And he makes it the way he's just impossible. And they look at him and say, "You're the soul. You have an important part. You got to be here." He says, "This is not me. I woke up this way. My voice was taken away. People get sick, and I'm sick. I can't do it." Not having any choice, they let him off, and he went to his room. A little while later, he gets a big knock on his door. 3 officers barge in. Bronstein, come here. And they say to him, what date is today? And he realizes that they caught on to his secret, and not having any choice, he said, it's Yom Kippur. So they said, he got very, very nervous. He said, someone must have informed on me that I'm a religious Jew and I won't sing on Yom Kippur. And they said, sing something from Yom Kippur. We're Jewish. He was very worried. He thought this was some kind of a setup. And not having a choice, they continue and they begin to tell him, come with us, follow us. And they went into the forest, and they told him that we want you to sing prayers for Yom Kippur, we are Jewish, and the truth came out. And he began to sing, chant with all his heart the prayers of Yom Kippur. And as he's into it, and he was there alone, no talis, no machzer, no prayer book, nothing. Absolutely no kittel, the white robe, nothing. And he's fully engaged. He's having this incredible emotional prayer. He turns around and he sees these three officers are sobbing, they're crying, tears are rolling down their cheeks. He couldn't believe what he was saying. He realized right then and there that the Jewish soul, no matter how far these officers were from Judaism all the years, but look at them. They're connected. The neshama is deep. And he says, when I go up to Yom Kippur in Kfar Chabad in the great synagogue, I travel with my mind to that scene in that forest in 1940, 41, whenever it was. And in that loneliness, and no minion, nothing. And I tried to recreate the emotion that I felt then together with these three Jews. And I tried to project and get in. That's where he says that's where he travels. That's where his mind, he disconnects in order to connect. My friends, I tell you this story because this year, as I mentioned, many of you are going to be living, davening alone, with your wife perhaps, with maybe children. You may not have your synagogue. You're not going to have all the surroundings that capture us on a given year. But you know what you will have? You'll have your soul. You're going to have God. And you're going to have Yom Kippur wherever you are. And I want to tell you something. Sometimes you have to disconnect to go very far in order to get very close, to become even closer. Zalman Bronstein went thousands of miles away to a forest to connect to God, to connect to Yom Kippur. He went to a place where there was no minyan in his mind. And that brought out a deeper Yom Kippur. This is the call of the hour. Don't be upset. This is God's will. What can we do? Sit alone. If you can, make sure you have a talis. Put on your talis. Take a prayer book. Pray with all your heart. Sometimes that prayer, I have no doubt that this Yom Kippur 2020 will be remembered for many, many years as the Yom Kippur that connected us to a very, very deep place within our own soul, within our own Judaism, within our own God. And you're going to remember this Yom Kippur. It's up to us what to do with these 24 hours that are coming Sunday night. You're going to be alone, perhaps with another 1, 2, 3 people around you, your family. You're going to have to do this by yourself. You're going to have to be the chazan. You're going to have to be the Torah reader. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to be the Zalman Bronstein in 1941 in the forest. But you know what? That experience is what made Yom Kippur all the years after that a deeper experience. My wish to all of you is you should have a Shana Tova, a Chatima Tova, is you should be sealed for a wonderful life. And God willing, next year, we should all be together, not in Chabad of Weston or wherever else you're living, but in Jerusalem together with Mashiach. With Chabad of Weston will be transported to Jerusalem, and we'll all daven together with Mashiach Tzidkenu, maybe even before this Yom Kippur, and we'll be already this Yom Kippur in that situation. But either way, I want to wish all of you a Shana Tova, a Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for listening, and all the best.